The sun was dropping low when the cowboys saw them moving across the plain, slow as if the earth itself weighed on their feet. Heat still shimmered off the dust, and the wind dragged dry grass along the fence posts with a whisper like old bones. Rubbing together, he stood near the barn door, one hand resting on the rough plank, watching the horizon the way men did out here without hurry, without hope of surprise. They came closer, shapes sharpening into people. A woman walked in front, straight back despite the child riding her hip. Another child followed, barefoot, eyes fixed on the ground as if afraid it might open. The woman's dress was torn at the hem, stained dark with sweat and travel. Her hair hung loose, black as nightfall, threaded with dust. She did not look away when she saw the man by the barn. The cowboy did not move. He had learned long ago that motion could invite trouble. His hat cast a shadow across his eyes, but he watched her face, the set of her jaw, the way she kept her body between the children and anything ahead. He'd seen fear before. This was not that. This was something steadier, worn, like a creek. Bed after years without rain. She stopped a few paces from the fence. The child on her hip tightened an arm around her neck. The other stepped closer, small hand catching her fingers. Evening, the cowboy said, voice low. Careful. He did not step forward. The woman nodded once. She spoke in English shaped by another tongue, each word chosen, measured. We have walked since morning. He waited, silence stretched, filled by the creak of the barn roof cooling in the evening air. There is no place, she went on. The town turned us away. The cowboy glanced toward the house beyond the corral. No smoke from the chimney, no light in the windows. He lived alone, had for years. That fact had once felt like freedom. Lately it felt like a sound that never stopped echoing. She took a breath, the smallest pause, but it carried weight. Can we sleep in your barn for one night? The words settled between them. He studied the children now, the older ones. Feet were cracked, red with dust. The younger's eyes followed every movement he made. Dark and watchful, he had known men who would have laughed, others who would have reached for a rifle. Out here, kindness could be mistaken for weakness, and weakness could get you buried. Where you headed? He asked. She looked west, where the land rose into low hills, purple in the fading light. To my people, if they still stand. Something flickered across her face then. Not sorrow, not anger, a quiet question, held back. The cowboy shifted. His weight, his knee ached, the old injury speaking up when the day cooled. He remembered another evening years ago, when he'd been the one asking for shelter. A different war, a different road. The memory came uninvited, sharp as a spur. There's hay in there, he said, nodding toward the barn. Dry. Her shoulders eased, just a little. She inclined her head again. We will not trouble you. He almost smiled at that. Almost. As she moved past him, he caught the faint scent of smoke in her clothes. Old fire, not tonight's. He watched her guide the children inside, heard the soft shuffle of their steps, the careful way she settled them near the wall. She did not light a lamp, she did not ask for water. The cowboy stayed where he was, the sky deepening to blue above him. Coyotes would sing soon. They always did. From the barn came a small sounder cough, quickly hushed. He turned, hand tightening on the doorframe. He told himself it was nothing, just another night on the range, just another choice made. Yet as darkness folded over the land, he felt it in his bones. By morning, something would come riding out of that same horizon, and whatever it was would not care about fences or barns, or the thin line a man drew when he decided who could stay. Night settled in slow and heavy, pressing down on the ranch until even the crickets seemed to mind their volume. The cowboy sat on the porch with a tin cup cooling in his hands, coffee gone bitter and forgotten. He listened to the land the way a man listens to another breathing beside him, catching the small signs that meant peace or warning. The barn stood quiet. No lantern glow slipped through the boards. Whoever that woman was, she knew how to make herself scarce. He rose at last and crossed the yard, boots brushing dust that still held the day's warmth. At the barn door he paused, knuckles hovering near the wood. He did not knock. Instead, he spoke softly, so as not to wake the children. There's water by the trough, he said, if you need it. From the dark inside came her voice, low and steady. Thank you. He turned away, but her words followed him. You live here alone. It was not a question. He stopped, then answered without looking back. Yes. Silence again. Then, that is a hard thing. He almost laughed, but the sound never came. He walked back to the house, shut the door, and lay on the bed fully dressed. Sleep came in pieces. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw the line of her shoulders, the way she stood like a post driven deep into the ground. Near dawn, hoofbeats reached him through the thin walls. His eyes opened at once. He rolled from the bed and reached for the rifle by the door, easing it up. Breathing slow, the sound came again. Closer now, careless. He peered through the window. 2 riders moved along the fence line, shapes dark against the pale edge of morning. He knew those men, not by name, but by type. Loose hats, slouched saddles, rifles carried without respect. They did not belong to the land, they took from it. The riders stopped near the barn. One laughed at something the other said. The sound carried too far in the quiet. The cowboy stepped onto the porch. "Mornin'," he called, voice even. Both men turned. One spat into the dust. "Didn't reckon anyone was home." "I am," the cowboy said. He rested the rifle against his shoulder, not aiming, not hiding it either. Their eyes slid past him, toward the barn. "You got company?" The question hung sharp as wire. The cowboy felt the weight of it settle in his chest. He thought of the children curled in the hay, of the woman's eyes lifting to him in the half-light. "No," he said. One rider smiled, thin and wrong. "We heard voices. Wind carries strange," the cowboy replied. The man's smile faded. He nudged his horse forward a step. "Mind if we look?" The cowboy did not move aside. "I do." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the other rider shifted, hand brushing his gun. The morning seemed to hold its breath. From inside the barn came a sound, a child's whimper, quick and small, cut short to late. Both riders heard it. "Well now," the first said, "looks like you do got something." The cowboy felt his choice close around him like a fist. He could step aside, let them see, tell himself it was not his fight, that he had no claim over who passed through his land. He could keep his life as it was, quiet and untouched. Instead, he lifted the rifle, leveled it at the dirt between the men and fired. The shot cracked the morning open. Dust jumped, horses reared, snorting. The riders cursed, yanking reins. "Next one won't miss," the cowboy said. His voice shook, but not enough. The men stared at him, measuring. At last, one spat again. "You're a fool," he said. "Protectin' savages, ride," the cowboy answered. They did, backing away first, then turning hard, hooves tearing up the earth as they fled toward the hills. The sound faded, but the echo stayed. The barn door creaked open. The woman stepped out, children behind her. She looked at the rifle, then at him. Her face showed no surprise, only a deep, quiet understanding. "You did not have to," she said. He lowered the gun, hands trembling now that it was over. "Yes," he replied, "I did." In the distance, a hawk cried, sharp and lonely. The cowboy watched the horizon where the riders had gone. Knowing men like that rarely forgot a slight. And as the sun lifted its rim above the plain, he understood that the night's kindness had already set something in motion that could not be undone. The day climbed fast, burning away the cool of morning and leaving the land bare and exposed. The cowboy worked as if nothing had changed, mending a loose rail, drawing water, keeping his eyes on the far edges of the ranch. The woman stayed near the barn, the children close to her side. They spoke little when they did. It was in murmurs meant only for each other. By noon, the wind shifted. It carried more than heat. It carried sound. Hoofbeats again, heavier this time, more than 2. The cowboy straightened, sweat tracing lines down his spine. He counted before he saw them, for riders came over the rise, spread wide, riding with purpose now. The same men from morning rode in front, anger plain in their posture. He did not call out. He stepped into the open, rifle in hand, knowing it would not be enough. The woman emerged from the barn, eyes already on the riders. She placed one hand on each child's shoulder, drawing them back into shadow. The horses slowed, then stopped well within range. One man tipped his hat, mockery thick in the gesture. "Told you we'd be back." The cowboy said nothing. "We just want what's ours," the man went on. "Those Injuns stole from us. Livestock, supplies, maybe worse." The woman's jaw tightened, but she did not speak. "That so?" the cowboy said. "Search the barn." The rider ordered. "No." The word landed flat and final. Guns came up in answer. The first shot rang out, tearing a splinter from the fence beside the cowboy's head. He dropped, rolled, fired back. A horse screamed. Men shouted. Dust rose thick, choking. From the barn came a sudden cry, not fear, but command. The woman stepped out, arms raised, her voice cutting through the chaos. She spoke in her own tongue, sharp and fast. The children crouched behind her. The riders hesitated. Just long enough. The cowboy fired again. One man fell. Another wheeled his horse away, dragging the wounded. Bullets tore through the barn wall, punching holes where the children had been. Moments before, then, as sudden as it began, it broke. The riders pulled back, retreating toward the hills, leaving blood and anger behind. Silence rushed in, thick and ringing. The cowboy lay still, ears ringing, chest heaving. He pushed himself up, wincing as pain flared along his ribs. The woman approached him. For the first time, she touched him, steadying his arm. Her hand was warm, calloused. You are hurt, she said. Not bad, he replied, though his breath came shallow. She studied his face, then nodded. They will return again. He knew she was right. He looked at the barn, riddled with holes, at the land that no longer felt like refuge. Then you need to go, he said quietly. Her eyes met his. So do you. The truth of it hung between them. The ranch, the solitude he had clung to, all of it had been stripped bare in a single morning. The children watched, wide-eyed, clutching each other. The woman drew them close, then looked back at the cowboy. Come with us, she said. The wind rose, carrying dust across the plain, erasing tracks even as it revealed the cost of staying. The cowboy looked once more at the house, the barn, the life he had built alone. And for the first time in years, he did not know where he belonged. They left before the sun reached its highest point. What could be carried was tied with rawhide, the rest abandoned without ceremony. The cowboy locked the house out of habit, though he knew no one would come to claim what remained. The woman watched him do it, her face unreadable, as if she understood the weight of leaving a place that had once promised safety. They moved west, keeping to low ground, the land folding around them in shallow dips and dry washes. The children walked without complaint. The older one kept glancing back, as if afraid the ranch might follow them. The younger slept against the woman's shoulder, breath soft, trusting. By late afternoon, the cowboy's ribs burned with each step he hit it poorly. The woman noticed. She always did. Sit, she said when they reached a stand of cottonwoods clinging to a narrow stream. He lowered himself onto a flat stone. Jaw tight, she knelt, tore a strip from her dress, and wrapped it firm around his side. Her hands were sure, not gentle, but careful. You learned this somewhere, he said. She nodded once. Long ago. They shared water. The children ate dried corn she carried in a small pouch. The cowboy watched them, the way the woman brushed dust from the boy's hair, the way the girl leaned into her hip. He felt something loosen in his chest, unfamiliar and dangerous. As the light softened, they spoke more. Not much, but enough. Her name was Nalin. She did not offer the children's names, and he did not ask. She asked his. He told her. It sounded strange in the open air, spoken to someone who might remember it. That night, they made a small fire, shielded by rocks. The flames threw shadows across faces, turning them older, then younger again. Nalin sang under her breath, a low sound that seemed to belong to the land itself. The children slept curled together. The cowboy stared into the fire. Those men, he said. They won't stop. No, she agreed, but neither will. We've. He looked at her then, really looked. The lines at the corners of her eyes were not from age, but from watching, waiting, enduring. You could have kept going, he said. Left me to it. She met his gaze. You stood when it was easier to step away. The fire cracked. Somewhere in the dark, a wolf answered another. Before dawn, the sound came again. Hooves. Careful this time. Too careful. The cowboy was on his feet before thought caught up. He eased the rifle into his hands, hard steady now, as if it had already decided. Nalin woke the children without a word, guiding them behind the trees. Shapes moved at the edge of the firelight. Not the same men. These rode straighter, slower. A voice called out, older, roughened by years. We're not here to fight. The cowboy did not lower the rifle. Then keep your distance. A man stepped forward, hands open. His hair was gray, his coat worn thin. He looked at Nalin, then at the children. We heard what happened at the ranch, he said. Those boys been causing trouble up and down the valley. And you are? The cowboy asked. Someone who's tired of burying folks. The man's eyes held no hunger, only weariness. He nodded toward the west. There's a place. Old mission ruins, stone walls still stand. Hard to reach, asterisk. Nalan studied him. The children clung to her legs, asterisk. Why tell us? The cowboy asked, asterisk. The man shrugged. Because once, someone did the same for me. Asterisk. Silence stretched again, but it felt different now, not empty, waiting. Asterisk. The cowboy lowered the rifle. Just an inch, enough to show he was listening, enough to show he was not done choosing. Asterisk. Behind him, Nalan's hand brushed his arm, light as a question. They reached the mission ruins as the sun slipped behind the hills, turning the sky the color of old copper. Stone walls rose from the earth like the bones of something long buried, weathered smooth by decades of wind and rain. A bell tower leaned, cracked but standing, its shadow stretching across the ground as if pointing the way. Asterisk. The old man had not lied. The place was hidden, tucked between rock and thorn, hard to find unless you already knew it was there. Asterisk. They moved inside the broken walls. The air felt cooler, steadier. The children explored in small steps, touching stone, peering into corners where lizards fled. For the first time since the ranch, they laughed, quiet sounds, unsure, but real. Asterisk. The cowboy set his rifle down and sank against a wall. His ribs throbbed, but the pain no longer ruled him. He watched Nalan gather brush for a fire, the way she worked without rush, as if this place had already accepted them. Asterisk. Night came gently. Asterisk. They ate what little they had, shared it evenly. No one spoke much. Words felt unnecessary now. The fire painted their faces in gold and shadow. Strangers no longer, not quite family either. Something in between that had no name. Asterisk. Later, when the children slept wrapped in blankets of old cloth, Nalan sat across from him. The fire had burned low. Crickets filled the silence. Asterisk. You did not ask why we were chased, she said. Asterisk. He shook his head. Didn't seem right. Asterisk. She nodded, considering that we took nothing that was not already stolen from us. Asterisk. He believed her, not because of her words, but because of the way she carried herself. A person who lies does not stand like that. Asterisk. You could leave at first light, he said. Find your people. I won't slow you. Asterisk. Her eyes lifted to him. The fire reflected in them, steady and deep. And you? Asterisk. He looked around the ruins, at the stars framed by broken stone, at the children breathing softly. I've been running from places my whole life, he said. Thought staying alone meant I wasn't running anymore. Asterisk. And now? Asterisk. He exhaled. Now I reckon I was just standing still. Asterisk. She studied him for a long moment. Then she reached into a small bundle and pulled out a strip of red cloth worn thin. She tied it around his wrist, firm but gentle. Asterisk. For the road, she said. Asterisk. He did not ask what it meant. Asterisk. Before dawn, the sound came again, hooves. Many this time. Asterisk. The cowboy was up, rifle in hand, heart calm in a way it had never been before. Nalan stood beside him, children behind the stone wall, eyes wide but unafraid. Asterisk. The riders crested the rise, the same men, joined by others, anger riding them hard. They saw the ruins and slowed, uncertain. The cowboy stepped forward into the open. Asterisk. This ends here, he called. Asterisk. A shot cracked the morning. Stone chipped near his feet. Asterisk. He did not fire back at once. He waited until the riders closed the distance, until he could see the doubt in their eyes. Then the sound of another gun rang out from the ridge behind them. Asterisk. The old man from the night before stood there, rifle steady. Another shot followed, then another, from the opposite side. Townsfolk, ranch hands, men and women who had lost enough. Asterisk. The riders broke. Fear scattered them faster than bullets ever could. Horses turned. Dust swallowed them whole. Asterisk. Silence returned, heavier than before. Asterisk. The cowboy lowered his rifle. His hands shook now, not from fear, but from release. Nalan's fingers closed around his wrist, over the red cloth. Asterisk. It is finished, she said. Asterisk. He nodded. It is. Asterisk. When the sun rose fully, the land looked different, not kinder, just honest. Asterisk. They buried the past there, beneath the mission. Stones, not with words, but with the choice to keep moving. Asterisk. By midday, they walked west together. The children ran ahead now, chasing birds, laughter loose in the air. Nalan walked beside him, steps matched to his. Asterisk. He did not know where the road would end, only that he would not walk it alone. Asterisk. And for the first time since he could remember, that felt like home.